If home buyer conditions are improving, then why aren't people buying homes? This is a question that I asked myself when I read the weekly market update out of Redfin. And when you take a look at the stats, their headline is home buying conditions are improving, right? Interest rates are lower. There's more new listings than there were last year. Home things are looking up for the home buyers. But then when you dig deeper into the article and you take a look at things like their Redfin demand index, which shows how much demand there are for homes, how many people are requesting tours and home services through their Redfin agents, those are down year over year. Google searches for homes for sale are down 20% year over year. Mortgage applications are down. So if conditions are improving for buyers, why aren't people buying homes? And I think the answer to that question is people are struggling. The economy is struggling right now. With CPI, obviously it's come down significantly from its 5% high, but inflation, you go to the store, things are much more expensive than they were even 2 years ago. I mean, you can't get out of the grocery store for under $200 now, it seems like. It's insane. And consumers are feeling that, and I think it's affecting the overall housing market. But what effects will this have on the housing market? Will this cause home prices to come down? And what is going to be the tipping point? What point in time do we have to look out for to say, okay, this is really seriously affecting home prices. This is affecting new listings. This is an issue with the housing market. I'm going to answer those questions in this video, and we're going to talk about the Redfin data right now. But real quick, my name is Liam O'Reilly. I'm a realtor here in Vermont with Jerry Riley Real Estate. You have any real estate needs? All my contact information is in the description. And let's get into the video. So housing demand here. This is the Redfin housing market update. The new year brings an uptick in early stage demand as mortgage payments fall and more homes hit the market, right? Sounds very positive for home buyers. And it says it right here. Median U.S. house payment is down $325, 12% from October's all-time high. Sellers are increasingly motivated, increasing demand and the lock-in effect, or an easing the lock-in effect. So, again, they're talking about conditions that are more favorable for buyers. 9% more new listings than there were a year ago, while the total number of listings is down 3% annually. So, again, still a very tight market. If you remember this time last year, there were hardly any listings on the market. This year, there's even less, despite there being 9% more new listings than there were this time last year. So, this is what I wanted to talk about. Year over year change, the weekly average fixed rate mortgage. So, mortgage rates are up slightly from last year. They're down from their October peak. But relatively speaking, if we look at the weekly average 30-year fixed mortgage rate, this year, right now, it's 6.62%. Last year, it's up, or it was 6.48%. So a little bit lower, but relatively similar to what we're experiencing today. Again, same time of year, similar mortgage rates. What's going on in the housing market? Well, mortgage purchase applications year over year are down 16%. So there's 16% less people applying for mortgages this year than there were last year, even though, granted, look, mortgage rates are higher than they were last year, but they're down more from their peak. So there's still less buyers out there, and it's relatively comparable. They're at a very similar level, about 14 basis points off, about 0.14% away from where it was last year. And we look at the Redfin Home Buyer Demand Index, down 9% year over year. 9% less people are looking for homes than they were last year. Google searches for homes for sale, down 20% year over year. Now let's take a look at some other things. New listings, up 9%. So this is what we talked about. More people are listing their home. And I think this is what they mentioned at the beginning of the article. Maybe the lock-in effect is starting to ease a little bit. Maybe there's people that were holding on, waiting for rates to drop lower before listing their property. And now that rates have remained high for so long, they're kind of, starting to adjust and starting to make that transition. Now, active listings are down year over year. So there's less listings this year than there were last year, although this is the smallest year over year decline since June. And let's take a look at some of these charts really quick. And then we're going to talk about what time of year, what we need to watch out for to see if this is really becoming an issue with the overall housing market. So right now we're seeing median sales price remain stable. It's up 4.1% year over year. And that's what we kind of expected. If we took a look at the 2023 chart, which is this orange line here, you would expect to see that the 2024 chart would continue right along the December level. So it's up 4% year over year, median sales price. Home buyer payments up 7.4% from last year based on where the median sales price is and where mortgage rates are. So it's more expensive to buy a home this year than it was last year, despite rates coming down significantly from their peak. Again, it's cheaper than it was earlier this year, as you can see, or earlier in 2023. Pending sales are down. New listings, here we go. New listings, they're up 9% year over year. So more people are listing their homes, which, you know, if more people are listing their homes and less people are looking for homes, that's a recipe for inventory to start to build. Again, we're not seeing it right now. Active listings are still down, but that's a recipe for inventory to start building, which could affect home prices. So new listings up 9% year over year. Again, well below 2021 and 2022 levels, but still up about 10% from last year. And then when we take a look at the home buyer payments here, or the Redfin Home Buyer Demand Index, rather, we see that it's way down 9% from 2023. And we have these highs in 2021 and 2022 when rates were so low, people were jumping in trying to get any home that they could. Now we're even under 2023's levels, and we're right around all-time lows. We're right around this October number here. You know, it's tough to say exactly where October is, but this 114 mark seems to be right around where it is. So what's the point of all this? Why do I bring all this data up? Well, the thing is that I think the tipping point for the housing market, if we take into account everything that we just read in that article, that home buyer demand is down despite mortgage rates starting to fall, that people aren't just rushing back into the housing market, most likely because the economy is in some sort of trouble. And we're seeing that with the bond rates, with the inversion in the yield curve. We've talked about the consumer debt that's high. We've talked about credit card defaults, which are on the rise, right? There's a lot of warning signs in the economy that shows that people are struggling, that the average consumer is struggling, and a lot of potential home buyers are struggling. At the same time, we're seeing new listings increase. So more people are listing their homes than they were this time last year. And the real test is going to be this spring. What's going to happen in the spring when if we have more listings than we did last year, which again, listings were at near all-time lows last year because interest rates were so high and so many people had locked into their mortgages. I expect there to be more listings this year just because people who were waiting for mortgage rates to come down and they eventually didn't come down are there's going to be more of those people who are like, all right, you know what? I'm ready to sell regardless of where rates are. Just as a nature, as the nature of the beast. That's how things work. You can only delay selling so long, and some people are going to need to sell sooner than others. So if we see more listings this year and we have less buyers out there, that could cause inventory to start to rise, and we might see the median sales price across the country start to fall. Now, some very important things to keep in mind is while we're talking about the national housing market in this video, there is no national housing market. It's more of a collection of interwoven individual housing markets. The housing market here in Vermont or in New England is going to be way different than if you're watching this video from Texas. And Texas's market is going to be way different than Miami, which is going to be different than Tennessee. So you have to understand what's going on in your individual housing market, what factors are at play to know if the median sales price is going to drop. But on a national level, nationally speaking, if we see more inventory start to come to the market, if we see less buyers in the market, we could experience a price drop. Now, I think if we are to experience a price drop, it's going to be a mild one, around -1%, -2%. But if we're experiencing a price drop on a national level here in the US, then that means you as a home buyer out there can go out and get a good deal. You can go out to the market and find a seller who is desperate and get something for well under list price because there's less buyers out there. Now, what it means for you as home sellers is you have to be even more spot on with your price. Again, you want to be the best home at your price point. And that holds true even if we're seeing prices come down. You want to be the most attractive home for the buyers in your price range. If you list it way too high, then all of a sudden you're the least attractive home at that price point, right? If you have a home that's worth $750,000, you list it for $800,000, why would somebody come to your home if they can get something nicer for the exact same price? Anyway, let me know what you guys think about this video. I hope you enjoyed it. Thanks for watching. Please leave me a comment. I love reading your comments. One of my most recent videos got about 50 comments or more, and I love replying to all the comments and hearing what you folks think. Other than that, thanks again for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.